Last season, a last-minute Conor Gallagher wonder-strike secured Champions League football for the first time in Crystal Palace's history, and this season we're making some big decisions to try and mount an unlikely Premier League challenge. Now, first and foremost, you may have already noticed that my voice is very much near breaking point, but as I said in a comment on our previous episode, if I'm asking my players to put their bodies on the line when they're not fully fit, then it's only right that a manager leads by example and does the same thing. So make sure you stick around until the end of the episode to see whether or not my voice has made it all the way through. Now, a third place finish in the Premier League table last season was monumental for Crystal Palace Football Club, but if we want to go one step further in Season 5 and balance both Premier League and Champions League football next season, I think we're going to have to make some more major upgrades to this entire squad to take us to the next level. Now, first and foremost, we're going to be starting in central midfield with Jefferson Lerma's replacement, to be more precise. As you can see, with him nearing the end of his contract and with him now being 32 years of age and only 79 rated, whilst he has been an able deputy to the likes of Czech Decore and of course Conor Gallagher in the heart of my midfield, plus in the early seasons filling in the back line when I've had a few injuries in defence, he's never really been in a position where he's properly challenged for a starting spot in either defence nor midfield. So Jefferson Lerma will depart the club and become a free agent in the last few years of his career. His departure will mean that we're going to need a replacement in central midfield. Now, Archie Gray's development is ticking along nicely, with the now 21-year-old being 78 rated, but yet again, I don't really think he's quite at the level to properly compete with, of course, my captain Conor Gallagher and Czech Decore across the course of the entire season. And so that is why I want to bring in a realistic signing that can potentially compete at a Champions League level and try and rival those two for a starting spot in the heart of my midfield across the course of the entire season. And so that is why I've decided to turn my attention to a man that so many of you across the course of this career mode have wanted me to sign for a very, very long time. He's a man who has broken into the French international setup and now on this career mode has started to ply his trade for Brentford in the Premier League, and of course wanting to stay in England but wanting to take the next step in his journey and play Champions League football. It is time for Khephren Thuram to move to Crystal Palace Football Club for a fee of £40.8 million. He's a big step up in rating and quality from the now departed Jefferson Lerma, and with his squad role only being at a rotational level, hopefully he's not going to be causing me any issues across the course of the season if he doesn't get in the starting 11 ahead of these two. Now, moving on to centre-back, one of the most highly rated positions in my entire squad. Since the arrival and the inspired signing of this man Piers Schurz at the beginning of Season 4, Joachim Andersen has been left absolutely furious. Not only was he removed from the starting 11, but he ended up getting replaced as captain of the club by this man Conor Gallagher, and with him now being 30 years of age and in his defensive prime, he's desperate for first team football, and that is why the Danish international has submitted a transfer request, and with a couple of different Premier League clubs fighting over his signature, he finally got his wish, departing Crystal Palace Football Club to Chelsea for a fee of £21.8 million. Now, obviously his departure does mean that it leaves me with just 3 senior centre-backs at the club, one of whom, William Pacho, and ever present in my defence, only has 11 months left on his contract. So first things first, before I even think about bringing in a replacement for Andersen, I've got to make sure that I can tie down the 25-year-old Ecuadorian for the foreseeable future. And with him happy to agree a contract extension of an extra 3 years at the club, with of course a very nice little salary bump to boot, we say thank you very much, as William Pacho will remain a Crystal Palace player, at least for the next 3 years. However, once again, going back to this defence, a trio that have performed so well for me over the course of last season, I've got a big decision to make. Do I want to potentially split them up and bring in a world-class talent who can compete with them, or do I want to look to maybe a younger talent who can grow and develop here at Crystal Palace Football Club? Now, based on the fact that William Pacho's 86 rated and Kazunu is one of the highest rated players of the entire team at 87, it would leave Piers Schurz as technically my weakest defender, with him being 84 rated. However, with his performances last year being nothing short of sensational, I'm really reluctant to replace him after just one season here at Crystal Palace Football Club. So instead, I'm thinking I might want to consider going down a slightly different route. I don't want to bring someone in who's going to completely disrupt the morale that I've built over the course of the last 4 seasons here at Crystal Palace, but at the same time I don't want to bring in a youth player who's going to offer me absolutely no quality whatsoever, especially in a season when I've got Champions League football to contend with. So instead, I think I want to bring in someone who does have the quality to seamlessly step in when I need him to, but also is not going to be knocking on my door every other week demanding first team football and demanding to be the star of the show at the heart of my defence. So with that in mind, I've decided obviously to go with someone who's been heavily recommended by so many of you over the course of this career mode. That is right, I am bringing in the Frenchman Maxence Lacroix as he joins from Wolfsburg for £38.5 million. He's the same overall 83 rating as his predecessor Andersen, but he is 3 to 4 years his junior, and he's also got lightning pace, which is exactly what I want to play with this high pressing formation. As I said, I don't think he will go straight into my starting 11, but I certainly think he's going to be an able deputy to bring on from the bench. Now, at the midway point of last season, I made the very bold call to let this man Quinton Merlin depart from the club. Despite him being 81 rated, he never truly had the ambition nor the quality ability to displace this man, Tyrick Mitchell, on the left-hand side of my defence, and so that is why I decided to bring this man in on big money in the January transfer window, and it really helped us push on. However, taking a look at the squad, you can still see that left-back is certainly the weakest part of my team. And with me still having £90 million in the budget, and the board having some colossal expectations on my shoulders this season, wanting me to win the Premier League title, win the FA Cup, and for some strange reason get to the final of the Champions League, I did think to myself it was time for me to make another bold call and potentially put this man Tyrick Mitchell on the transfer list. However, when I started actually having a proper look through my transfer shortlist and to see whether or not I had any decent players who were better than him in that position, as you can see, my options are few and far between, and actually I don't really see anyone who is a significant step up on the 27-year-old Englishman. So it got me thinking, if I can't make any significant improvements to that area of my squad, what other areas of the team can I make some big decisions on? Now, Dean Henderson has been an ever-present for me since the very beginning of Season 1, and someone whom I've put my faith in for the entirety of this career mode in between the sticks for Crystal Palace Football Club. But as you can see, with him only having 11 months left on his contract, and with him now being 30 years of age, I've got a very big decision to make. Do I think he is the long-term future here at Crystal Palace Football Club, or is goalkeeper a position that I can make a real statement signing ahead of our first season in the Champions League? Now, I know I've got some of the finest scouts on YouTube whom have been helping me trying to bring in some transfer targets across the course of this entire career mode. And whilst I know there have been several of these goalkeepers who have been heavily recommended to me, looking at their overall stats, are they the ones that are going to take us to the next level? Starting off with this man, Aaron Ramsdale, at just 29 years of age, just 1 year the junior of Dean Henderson, and being the same overall rating as him. Is he a significant step up on his fellow countrymen? Gavin Bazunu was someone who was heavily recommended to me right at the start of Season 1, and whilst he has progressed up to an 81 rating, you can clearly see he's not even as good as Dean Henderson at this point in time. Marcin Bolka is another one. Yes, he is only 27 years of age, but with him still being the same overall rating as Dean Henderson, is he that statement signing that's going to take us to the next level? And whilst the 25-year-old Ukrainian Trubin is a significant step up at 86 overall rating, with him now being at Manchester United, who too have qualified for the Champions League, is he realistically going to want to leave one of the biggest clubs in England to try and join Crystal Palace at this point in his career? So instead, I've decided to go in a slightly different direction and snap up a player who, entering the last year of his contract, I have managed to negotiate an incredibly good deal significantly under his asking price. He is a young man, now 27 years of age on this game, who formerly used to play for Atalanta, now for Real Sociedad in this career mode, and of course another player who, now entering his goalkeeping prime, is eager to test himself at the highest level, not just in the Champions League but in the Premier League as well. And so it seems like the perfect fit that the Italian Marco Carnesecchi is going to take his career to South London, that will see him join the Crystal Palace revolution here in Season 5 as he joins for a fee of £44.5 million. Once again, it is another huge statement signing, a man who will come in and immediately put himself right in between the sticks and cement himself as the #1 goalkeeper at this club. We have a brand new world-class goalkeeper here at Crystal Palace Football Club, and now I finally feel like we have a team that can challenge for Premier League glory. We've still got £40 million left in the transfer budget if we want to make some improvements in January, but with some huge pressure not just resting on my own shoulders but the shoulders of all of these players as well, it's going to be very interesting this season to see who's going to be the man that's going to step up and impress here in a Crystal Palace shirt. And with the stage now set at Ellen Road, where we're going to be facing off against Leeds United in our very first game of the Premier League campaign, it is finally time to get Season 5 underway. There will only be one of my 3 new signings in the starting 11 here today, as Carnesecchi takes his place in between the sticks. As you can see, it is the usual rest of the team, with the likes of Lacroix and Thuram making up the places on the bench. It's Greenwood now to try and skip past Martinez. He's done a good job of doing so, and he's managed to get all the way past him there. The Spaniard could do nothing to hold him up. Really good start here so far from Leeds United. Lovely interchanging play. Jorginho Rutter blocked off by Pierce Scher's corner. Early warning signs inside the opening 5 minutes. I've got to be honest, I thought this was going to potentially be an absolute rout here, but Leeds United have started the better of the two teams. We've got to try and see if we can get our act together here. This is not what I want. Straight at Carnesecchi though. He will be very thankful for that, and that's exactly the sort of shot that he wants to save early doors here. Now Martinez into Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher to fire it all the way over to Çalhanoğlu on the left-hand side. What options does he have? Up ahead of him. Oh my goodness, he's taken out there by Drummer. and there's no free kick whatsoever. There's Kazunu now, out to Martinez on the right-hand side. Lovely ball through into Dominic Solanke. He tries to turn it around the corner. Leeds flying in with some huge challenges early doors here in the opening 15 minutes. Once again, there's no card from the referee, but at least we do have a free kick in a very dangerous area that Arnau Martinez is going to be the man to take here. He's going to just try and see if he can dink this one over to the edge of the box. It's a really poor one, headed away by the Leeds United defence, but it falls out to Dominic Solanke, who takes it on his left, and that is horrendous. It's Harrison for Leeds being hunted down by my left back, and Decore in the end was able to intercept that pass, and now Gonzalo Ramos with a fabulous ball through into Dominic Solanke. Solanke now into the box, he goes, looks to the back post, finds the left back Chadaglu, who gets the opening goal here in season 5, and it's a wonderful counter-attacking play. Gonzalo Ramos, just like he did at the very beginning of his debut in season 4, delivers a wonderful pass, this time into the path of Dominic Solanke, who whips the ball low and hard across the box, and of course in that area, when Chadaglu managed to just sneak in behind the right back Tremor, he was able to easily slot it into an empty net to give us a 1-0 lead. Dominic Solanke once again here. We've got our tails up here, and Leeds United are a bit all over the place as Gonzalo Ramos plays it into Arnau Martinez. Martinez is going to dink this one across the box. Almost Kamada got on the end of that one, but Leeds just about clear their lines. Drama for Leeds United yet again. This game is really yet to ignite here at Ellen Road. Yes, we've got an early goal, but it's still any teams to play for here, but neither team really is taking the game by the scruff of the neck, as Arnau Martinez did a really good job of defending there. Conor Gallagher now into Dominic Solanke. Solanke over to Decore. Decore has an option of Chadaglu on the left-hand side. He's in space, but he cuts in field now. He tries to play a ball into the channel, finds Gonzalo Ramos. Really good piece of build-up play here from Crystal Palace. The young man drives into the box, looks for the curling strike. It's blocked. Good corner. And it's one that Kamada is going to take. He's going to look to try and see if he can put it into the penalty spot. It's looped in, looking for William Pacho on his head. That is a brilliant header. A thumping header to be precise. And the Ecuadorian, fresh off of his new contract, gives us a 2-0 lead. Well, I said at the beginning of the game I was expecting a rout here for Crystal Palace. We started off a bit shaky, but we're starting to make our way into this game and really assert our authority. Fabulous header from the big man. He's obviously full of confidence after that brand new, fresh contract, and he's a very, very happy man, both off and on the pitch, as am I. 2-0. So it's Bazunu here at the start of the second half to play a lovely looping ball over to Chadoglu, who has been heavily involved so far in this game, as Decore flings it right over to Arnau Martinez, really starting to stretch Leeds United here, and they're struggling as we've got in behind them. Good defending in the end from Frank Garcia, and it almost runs away from him there. Drama's under a bit of pressure, just about manages to hack it clear. So Nana for Leeds into Jack Harrison's come central. The left back once again heavily pressing. He's been so involved so far in this game for me. He's been the man of the match. He's been absolutely everywhere, up and down that left-hand flank non-stop. But in the end, because he's gone so high up, he's lost a bit of space there. But my other centre-back in Pacho, the other goal scorer, won the ball back really well. And now Gonzalo Ramos can... I was trying to see if I could release Kamada. The ball was on. The run was there. But the ball in the end was not good enough from the Portuguese. Piers Schurz, though, unbelievable defending yet again, proving to be an inspired signing, as I said at the beginning of the episode, is starting off this 5th season exactly as he started off the 4th, as Dominic Solanke tried to get in the box there. He's got a free kick for his troubles, or perhaps he hasn't, as the referee plays advantage, and now Leeds United are in a really good spot to try and counter-attack. But in what has been a fairly lacklustre second half so far, I have decided to try and see if I can inject some freshness, and that is why my 2 new signings, Maxence Lacroix and Keprin Shuram, are both coming on the pitch here with about 10 minutes remaining to try and see if we can see out this 2-0 victory and get the 3 points, as Pacho with a huge challenge. He's been brilliant defensively so far in this game. Now Keprin Shuram with his first opportunity to try and see if he can run the channels here. Plays it into Arnau Martinez. The Spaniard just about manages to keep hold of the ball. Plays in Dominic Solanke. The ball's not good enough. Good defending. Greenwood though for Leeds. Nice little ball into the channel to Jorginho Rutter. He's held up though by Arnau Martinez. Greenwood can't get there ahead of the Spaniard. The Spaniard has lost it though to Jorginho Rutter. Rutter's taking it to the corner flag. Tries to play it in. Of course the new signing, Maxence Lacroix, is in the right place at the right time. Gives it to Shuram as the referee blows for full time. Well, it wasn't the most exhilarating game, I've got to be totally honest, especially that second half, but it does not matter as I salute the travelling fans. We got the job done here today, and we're starting off this Premier League campaign exactly as we would have wanted to. That man, William Pacho, fabulous down the defensive end, fabulous down the attacking end. He got the second goal of the game that was enough to give us a 2-0 victory at full time. Well, my attack didn't look particularly lively, I've got to be totally honest. A lot left to be desired in front of goal from the likes of Dominic Solanke and Gonzalo Ramos. But fortunately, it was my defenders who came to the rescue. This man, Ferdy Kadaglu, getting his first goal of the season, and William Pacho putting in an inspired performance, getting his first goal, putting us right to the top of the Premier League table after one game played, and hopefully that is where we're going to stay for the foreseeable future. It did get me thinking though, if the likes of Gonzalo Ramos and Dominic Solanke start to have an off day in front of goal, the only other options that I've got in reserve are this man, Matthias Franca, and of course the young man, Hezron Raksaki. Now both of them I have tried to keep on because I've wanted to try and find a route into the starting 11 for them, but they just haven't developed in the sort of way that I was hoping. Hezron Raksaki at 80, he's a decent backup, but he's not exactly going to be putting pressure on Dominic Solanke nor Gonzalo Ramos. And Matthias Franca, whenever he has come into the team, he really just has not impressed. So once again, with this £40 million budget, that might be an area of the pitch that I want to make a bold decision on. But with 3 new big money signings already coming into the club this summer, I'm not quite sure with the squad morale at a fairly contemptible level if I want to add any more disruptions at the starting of the season. So with that in mind, I am going to give at least 6 more months to the likes of Hezron Raksaki and Matthias Franca to see what they can do, show me that they can come in and deputise for the likes of Dominic Solanke and of course Gonzalo Ramos when called upon. If they can't, and if they do have a poor start to the opening 6 months of this season, then one of them may be on the chopping board come the January transfer window. And so as we begin our travels through the first half of the season, initially it seemed like things were moving in the right direction, as we're sitting in a fairly comfortable 3rd place in the Premier League, just 5 points off of Liverpool in top spots. But then in Crystal Palace's first season in the Champions League, disaster struck, because after being drawn in a pretty tough group with lots of European experience, our inexperience showed through as Crystal Palace ended up finishing in 3rd spot, being knocked out of the Champions League, leaving the board not happy one bit. And now the pressure is on me to at least reach the final in the Europa League. Once again, Diachi Kamada has been an absolute revelation in that central attacking midfield spot. Now my highest rated player up to 89, and with 13 goals and 10 assists in just 26 appearances, he is an absolute superstar, not just at Crystal Palace, but in world football altogether. Gonzalo Ramos seems to have stepped up this season already in the first 6 months, getting 11 goals and 4 assists. But Dominic Solanke seems to be usurped as my top goal scorer so far this season, as with only 8 goals and 1 assist, he has to find himself in 3rd spot. One surprise I did find though, with my initially thinking that Kepren Thuram was coming in to be a squad player, he's actually managed to try and weasel his way into the starting 11 with 4 goals and 4 assists. And perhaps that could be a reason as to why, in spite of us being in 3rd place, squad morale is only at a contentful level. However, it has left Czech Decore absolutely furious, because he's on the receiving end of it, furious he's not getting enough game time. And whilst he hasn't submitted a transfer request yet, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before the 27-year-old does. But thinking about it, if we want to try and get over the line in the Premier League this season and achieve at least one of the board's objectives by winning a piece of silverware this season, I think with £40 million still left in the bank, I think I'm going to have to follow suit of what I did at this point in the season last year and try and bring in a fresh face to inject some sort of positivity back into the camp. Now, I said only a few moments ago at the beginning of the season, Matthias Franca and Hezron Raksaki had 6 months to show me what they could do, and as you can see from these stats, they clearly have not listened to me one bit. Now, in an ideal world, I would want to go big and try and bring in a striker who can genuinely improve my front line and someone who is potentially world class, the likes of Alexander Isak. However, with his asking price likely to be over the 100 million mark and me only having 40 million to spend, I'm going to have to be a little bit smarter with my recruitment. And so that is why I've decided to go down a slightly different route and bring someone in yet again who's been heavily recommended to me, but someone who's got a little bit more experience, who can fit into my current budget, and someone who won't mind playing a more rotational option but still offers us a little bit more quality in those attacking areas. And so that is why I've decided to go for a man who does have Premier League experience, formerly with Wolves, now on this career mode plying his trade in Germany for Stuttgart and ready for a return back to England. That is right, it is time to welcome the Brazilian Matheus Cunha, who joins for £34.5 million. He's got that something special, he's 83 rated, and he will be an able deputy for the likes of Dominic Solanke and Gonzalo Ramos. And hopefully, as the season progresses, he can offer us that much needed spark coming off from the bench. One man you might have seen has not even been able to find a place on the bench is this man, Dean Henderson, obviously due to the fact that I've decided not to go with a goalkeeper on the bench. But as you can see, with him only having 6 months left on his contract and with him being fully usurped as our number one goalkeeper by this man, Marco Carnesecchi, I don't really see there being a future for the now 30-year-old Englishman. However, with me not wanting to go down the same road as I did with the likes of Mark Gay and Jefferson Lerma, I have decided to try and offer him a new contract. He's going to have a 2-year extension, and hopefully, come the summer transfer window, I will be able to make some money on the Englishman. However, as the season progresses, you will soon see that that new signing hasn't offered me the same injection of freshness that I was hoping for, because after getting knocked out of the Carabao Cup third round on penalties to Bournemouth, still being some way away saved from climbing to the top of the Premier League table. And now, after losing to Borussia Dortmund 1-0 in the first leg of the preliminary round in the Europa League, it almost feels like suddenly my managerial career here at Crystal Palace Football Club is teetering on the edge, going from hero in Season 4 to potentially zero here in Season 5, because now it looks like and almost feels like I've got one game to potentially save my season. And if we do not turn this game around and we end up crashing out of the Europa League, who knows what's going to happen for the rest of Season 5. And so that is why I've decided to take matters into my own hands and once again take control of this team. It's the usual starting 11 with a refreshed bench. Let's hope we can get the job done here at Selhurst Park. Kamada wins the ball back high up the field though. That's exactly the sort of start I want as Gonzalo Ramos tries to take it on. Kim Min-jae with a huge last-ditch challenge to Tchouaméni for Dortmund. They've really got a great team here. They do not belong one bit in the Europa League, as Adam Wharton, the former Crystal Palace man, now applying his trade out in the Bundesliga with a lovely step over, gives it to Marcus Rashford, but Piers Schürrle is in the right place at the right time. Gallagher can't get away though. Robertson into Tell, back to Adam Wharton, fires it up from distance. Karnaseki though with a wonderful save. Kalaglu gets it clear. It's Julian Brandt once again. Marcus Rashford, the former Manchester United man, brings it into Julian Brandt's feet yet again. It's Tell in space. Pacho comes across. That is a huge challenge, and Conor Gallagher just about manages to wriggle away from trouble there. But my word, this has been a really difficult start to this game. But Arnau Martinez now has the opportunity to try and see if he can make a change to that, as he just goes past the defender here. Tried to play it in the box. Romero blocked. Corner. It will be Kamada to be the man who's going to take the resulting corner. Fires it in. Looking for the header, Solanke. Headed away though by Giovanni Reina. Kamada will knock it down into Kazunu, the centre-back, on the volley. Balloons it over the bar. Dominic Solanke though dinks it right over to Arnau Martinez, and that chance seems to have lifted the spirits here as Kamada plays it into Gonzalo Ramos. That was the chance. It was a huge one. How did he not score from that? But it's Giovanni Reina now on the counter-attack, trying to go one-on-one with Pacho. The big Ecuadorian comes across, but somehow gives away a foul in the process. And it's a free kick here that Marcus Rashford is going to be the man to take. Dinks it right over to the penalty spot. Solanke heads it clear. Doesn't head it clear very far though, but Conor Gallagher picks up the scraps and now tries to see if he can burst forward. Can't burst forward very far though, as Tchouaméni wins it back into Wharton. Rashford, lovely little turn across, fires strike. Good save again. Of course, it's going to be that man Adam Wharton to take the corner. Took so many corners for me in a Crystal Palace shirt. He's got so many assists in the process, but he didn't this time, as Giovanni Reina picks it up on the edge of the box. Tries to wriggle away from the challenge of Kamada. Does. What a save again from the goalkeeper. He's keeping us in the game. Julian Brandt. I'm losing count of how many corners Borussia Dortmund are getting at the moment. They fire it in yet again. Gonzalo Ramos in a defensive position. Only out as far as Brandt. Back to Wharton on the edge to Tchouaméni. Into Tell. Tell trying to turn. Piers Schürrle with a good challenge. Wharton has it. One of my defenders just fell on the floor as Giovanni Reina tried to play a real sneaky shot there right through the legs. But once again, my goalkeeper was equal to it. At the moment, of the two teams in the opening 45 minutes, Borussia Dortmund looked the more likely to score. We've got to try and do something different here, because at the moment, if we do not, we are crashing out of the Europa League. We win it back with Solanke. Kamada now. Kamada to feed it into Gonzalo Ramos, who takes it on, and he's got the beating of Kim Min-jae. Gonzalo Ramos with his right. That is a brilliant finish and exactly what you want your star striker to do. It was the ball from Kamada, but the touch and the turn away from Kim Min-jae gave Gonzalo Ramos the space to run into, and he just curled it round the goalkeeper. Beautiful, beautiful goal. Lovely finish. 1-1 on aggregate, and it's Kamada who now has it. It seems like we've got our tails up here. The left back plays it back into that man Gonzalo Ramos, tries to wait for Dominic Solanke to get himself back on side. It's the left back who has it once again. He's in the box. Oh my goodness, in the space of about 5 minutes we have totally turned this game on its head. We've gone from 1-0 down to 2-1 up, and Crystal Palace have 1 foot into the next round of the Europa League. Have they turned my managerial fortunes on their head, as it's Ferdy Çalhanoğlu once again who comes to my rescue. Scored a fabulous goal in the first game of the season, and he's done the same thing here today. I'm delighted. 2-1. Julian Brandt for Dortmund though. Piers Schürrle yet again in the right place at the right time. Kamada takes it forward, of course, into the left back, who's been absolutely instrumental in both of my played games so far this episode. Pacho floats a wonderful ball over to the right back. Arnau Martinez heads it down, looking for Solanke, who's just trying to nod it over the top of Romero, but the Argentinian read that one really well. Piers Schürrle will take it back down though. Real end-to-end stuff here in the last 20 minutes of this game. The left back, yet again, in sensational form, drives to the edge of the box. Can he pick out a man into the box? He does. Picks out Kamada. What a save from the goalkeeper. We keep it alive. We get a corner, and it's one that Kamada's going to take, and I'm going to look to try and see if I can fire this one into the penalty spot. Looking for the big head of Dominic Solanke. It will fall to Conor Gallagher, who knocks it back down into Kamada. Floats it across the box. In the end, it's easy for Romero to hit it clear, but he makes a bit of a hash of it as Conor Gallagher picks it up once again. Kamada to float it back in, this time looking for Gonzalo Ramos. It was too far away from him though. Dortmund clear their lines. Matthias Tell though will pick up the loose ball for Dortmund right on the edge of my box. Lovely little turn away from Kazunu. Martinez comes across corner, and it's one that every single man and his dog is in the box for, as Dortmund desperately try and see if they can get on back on the score sheet. But Kartasecki showing exactly why it was the right decision to bring him in the summer. A huge commanding catch, and that's exactly what you want from your goalkeeper. Romero wins it back though, plays it back into the former Liverpool man Andy Robertson, skips past the challenge of Conor Gallagher and drives to the edge of the box, finds Adeyemi. Adeyemi can't get past Pierce Schurz, the big man once again in the right place at the right time, but Tuchemeni picks it up. We're deep into stoppage time now, on the edge of the box. This time it's Decore with the challenge, but it looks like the referee has blown for a free kick here in stoppage time. The centre-back Romero to step up to take it, and that is the free kick of a centre-back for sure. Well, why on earth Borussia Dortmund would let a centre-back take a free kick in that position at that point in the game boggles the mind, but I do not care one bit. As you can see, the smile on my face. Has my managerial career here at Crystal Palace been saved at the death? That man Gonzalo Ramos, his early goal, pointed us in the right direction as we clinch a huge 2-0 victory, 2-1 on aggregate. I breathe a huge sigh of relief, but just how much longer have I got left to hold on here at Crystal Palace? And it turns out not very long at all, because despite managing to get through the round of 16 against SC Braga, we were then dumped out of the quarter-finals on penalties by Bayern Leverkusen, and then after getting pumped 4-1 by Manchester City in the semi-final of the FA Cup, despite Crystal Palace being on course to secure back-to-back Champions League qualification for the first time in their history. The lofty expectations set by the board at the start of the season meant that squad morale dipped to a level that I'd never seen it before, and with my status at a critical level, despite the incredible hard work that I've put into Crystal Palace over the course of these last 5 seasons, the board decided enough was enough, and I was sacked as manager of Crystal Palace Football Club. Domestic success and European qualification still wasn't enough for the board, and so it ends with heartbreak here at Crystal Palace Football Club as my time is come to an end. So that is going to be that for the end of today's episode and the end of this entire career mode. Thank you everyone for watching. Thanks for your contributions. I really do appreciate it, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.